For 10 long years, he was pretty much a ghost, the most wanted man on the planet, the architect behind the single worst attack on American soil. This is the story of how the world hunted for Osama bin Laden, a chase that lasted a decade, cost billions of dollars, and, completely reshaped the world we live in.
Okay, so our story kind of starts at the end. We're in Abbottabad, Pakistan. It's 2011, and on the surface, it's a pretty quiet city. It's home to a big military academy, but that year it was also hiding a massive secret.
For months, the CIA had their eyes on this one specific place, and it was weird. It was like a fortress with these huge 12-foot walls topped with barbed wire. Get this, no phone lines, no internet connection, and the people inside, they burned their own trash instead of having it collected. They were definitely hiding something, or someone. The big questions were, who was it? And how in the world did the CIA find this one specific building in the entire world?
To really understand who was hiding in that compound, we have to go back, way back. Because the world's most wanted man wasn't born in some remote cave. He grew up with immense wealth and privilege.
This timeline really shows you the whole transformation. Bin Laden starts out as the son of a Saudi construction billionaire. But then, in 1979, he goes to Afghanistan to fight the Soviets. And the irony is, the US was actually supporting that same cause back then. The real turning point, though, was 1990. US troops set up shop in his home country, Saudi Arabia, for the Gulf War. And he saw it as an absolute desecration. From that moment on, all his anger shifted toward America. And that led to his declaration of war and the first real attacks from his group, Al-Qaeda.
The embassy bombings. Those were a warning shot. But what came next would draw a giant line in history. It created a before and an after. And it kicked off the biggest manhunt the world had ever seen.
September 11th, 2001. That date says it all, doesn't it? Al-Qaeda, with bin Laden in charge, pulled off a plan so bold and so devastating it felt like something out of a disaster movie. Except, of course, it was horrifyingly real. The attack was just chillingly precise. 4 commercial planes hijacked, 2 of them were flown straight into the Twin Towers in New York, a third slammed into the Pentagon, literally the headquarters of the US military, and the 4th, United 93, was on its way to another target in DC, probably the Capitol building, but the passengers fought back, forcing the hijackers to crash the plane into a field in Pennsylvania.
And the human cost? It's almost impossible to wrap your head around. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives. They were just regular people, office workers, firefighters, police officers, and of course the passengers on those planes. It was the deadliest attack by a foreign entity on US soil in all of history.
The response was immediate and absolute. President Bush announced a war on terror, and this quote laid out the new rules of the game. He was saying the fight wasn't just with Al-Qaeda. It was with any country, like the Taliban in Afghanistan, that gave them a safe place to hide. And just like that, the hunt for one man became a global war.
So the US invaded Afghanistan and toppled the Taliban pretty quickly. But the main target, Osama bin Laden, he just vanished, became a ghost, and that kicked off this incredibly frustrating, decade-long search.
The craziest part is how close they came right at the beginning. In late 2001, US forces had him cornered in the Tora Bora Mountains. But the terrain was brutal, and they were relying on local fighters who couldn't seal off the border, and he just slipped away into Pakistan. Poof, gone. For almost 10 years, the trail went ice cold. The big breakthrough came when they decided to focus on one single theory. If bin Laden couldn't use phones or the internet, he had to have a trusted courier. In 2010, after years of painstaking work, they finally got a name: Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti.
And this is where it all comes full circle. The CIA follows the courier. And where does he lead them? Not to some mountain hideout, which is what everyone expected. Nope. He led them right back to that strange, high-security compound in Abbottabad. All those weird pieces of the puzzle were finally starting to click into place.
So after watching the compound for months, President Obama had a choice. He could launch a super risky raid based on evidence that, wasn't 100% conclusive, or he could wait and risk letting the world's most wanted man get away again. He decided to act.
The mission got its code name, Operation Neptune Spear. The objective was simple, stark, and to the point. Get bin Laden, dead or alive. And the guys for the job? One of the most elite units on the planet, SEAL Team 6.
So here's how the whole thing went down. It happened in 5 quick phases. On May 2, 2011, the SEALs slipped into Pakistan using stealth helicopters. They stormed the compound, moving room by room. On the 3rd floor, they found him, and, after a firefight, killed him. But before they left, and this is so important, they scooped up a ton of hard drives and documents. Then, they got out, destroying one of their own crashed helicopters on the way out, and taking their target with them.
Now here's a fascinating final detail. The US government had a problem. What do you do with the body? They knew that if they buried him on land, his grave could become a pilgrimage site, a symbol for future terrorists. So, after confirming it was him, they transported his body to an aircraft carrier and buried him at sea, making sure to follow Islamic traditions.
Later that night, the whole world got the news straight from the White House. The 10-year hunt was finally over. For the families of the 9/11 victims, and for a country still healing from that day, it was a moment of, well, a profound closure.
I mean, there's no doubt the mission was an incredible success, right? A masterpiece of intelligence and bravery that ended a decade-long search. But it does leave us with one last lingering question. Was killing him the only way to get justice, or would it have been more powerful to capture him alive, put him on trial, and force him to answer for his crimes in front of the entire world? It's a tough one, and people are still debating it today.